High housing costs will drive more Americans to become home renters instead of home owners in 2024. At least that's according to Zillow, who says that housing unaffordability will make the new starter home a single-family rental in America. Now, for those of you who don't know, Zillow is a housing conglomerate. Not only can they help you find a home to purchase, but they're also a real estate lender who started offering the 1% down payment in 2023, and they also used to be a real estate flipper before that operation got shut down. Well, every year, Zillow puts out their annual housing market predictions, and I went through and I analyzed Zillow's 2024 housing market predictions, and I want to break that down in this video here. That way you don't have to spend your time doing that. Now, if you do want to read it for yourself, I have that link for you down in the description as well. There are 6 main forecasts that Zillow made in the housing market report. Number 1 is that housing inventory will rise because homeowners will finally accept the fact that mortgage rates aren't falling. Now, I'm not sure if you caught that, but Zillow actually made 2 predictions in that one statement. Number 1 has to do with housing inventory rising in the future, and number 2 has to do with interest rates staying higher for longer. Let me start by talking about the inventory shortage, because the United States has been facing a severe inventory shortage of homes because people just don't want to sell their homes. And the reason why is because let's say you own a home and you have a 3.5% mortgage. If you sold your home today, you'd have to buy a new home and maybe get a 7.5, maybe 8% mortgage. And a lot of people are saying, I don't want to do that. I'd rather wait until mortgage rates drop. That way I can get a new home with a lower mortgage rate. But this is where Zillow is saying, not so fast. Zillow says that it's becoming clear that high mortgage rates have some staying power. Expect more homeowners who locked in low mortgage rates to list their homes for sale as they grow wary of waiting for the historically low rates of 2021 to return. The reason why this is so interesting is because you have a lot of investors out there and economists out there saying that the Federal Reserve Bank is going to aggressively cut interest rates in 2024 because of all the changes in inflation and the economy. But this is where Zillow is saying, we don't know if the Federal Reserve Bank is really going to cut interest rates that aggressively. And in 2024, homeowners are going to become a little bit more accepting of these higher interest rates for longer, so they might just understand that this is going to be part of the new economy. If we assume that Zillow is right, that more people then become okay listing their homes for sale, that means you would have an increase of supply of homes, which would put a downward pressure on home prices, making homes a little bit more affordable in 2024. This brings me to number 2, which says that home buying costs will level off, giving home buyers or hopeful home buyers a chance to finally catch up. It's not a huge surprise that we've been seeing record low home affordability in 2023 because we've been seeing high home prices mixed with higher interest rates. A typical home buyer in October 2023 would have to have spent more than 40% of their earnings just on their mortgage payment. This is an all-time high in Zillow data, which goes back to the 1990s. That means the average home buyer towards the end of 2023 is spending about half of all of their earnings just to pay for their housing costs. That doesn't include your health insurance, that doesn't include your groceries, that doesn't include your car, that doesn't include your travel, and that doesn't include you making any investments or savings for your wealth, which is why it's so difficult for people to actually afford buying a home, which is why people have become so frustrated in the housing market. But this is where Zillow says that in 2024, we'll start to see this catch up with housing affordability. Take a look. Zillow says that in 2024, home values will hold steady because they're only going to fall by 0.2%, and this will give time for wages and buyer savings to catch back up. So what Zillow was saying is that they're not projecting home prices to see this massive fall. In fact, they're only projecting a 0.2% fall in home prices in 2024, which means home prices are essentially, according to Zillow, going to stay flat. What does that mean? If home prices stay flat while incomes rise and while savings rise, which is what Zillow says is going to happen in 2024, that means that incomes will be rising when home prices are staying the same, making home ownership more affordable. So this is what Zillow was saying. The home ownership is going to become more affordable, not because we're going to see a change in housing costs, but rather because housing costs are going to stay the same while incomes and savings and wealth rise in 2024. How true is that, especially given that high inflation is still around and we're seeing slowdowns in wage growth? Well, only time will tell, but the important thing here is this is why it's so important for you to build your financial education, work to own assets, work to put your money to work, and work to know how to use your money. That way you can become wealthy regardless of what's happening in the economy. By the way, we have a free ebook on this at Briefs Media, where my team goes through things like how do you start saving your money, how do you start investing your money, what are different assets that you can own, how can you get paid, how do you start generating cash flow, how do you spend your money smartly, and how do you protect your assets. This ebook is completely free. So if you're looking for a step-by-step guide on how you can start using your money and building your wealth, this is an ebook that will walk you through how to do that. And I got the link that you can use to download this ebook for free down in the description below, or you can go to briefs.co/ebook. The third point that Zillow made is that the new starter home for an American is going to be a single family rental. Now, you might be a little bit confused because the first 2 points that Zillow talked about kind of hint at housing becoming a little bit more affordable. And if housing becomes a little bit more affordable, why are we going to see home renting on the rise? Well, take a look. Though Zillow expects home affordability to improve in 2024, many households will continue to be priced out. Demand and prices for single-family rentals will continue to increase next year as families look for a more affordable option to enjoy amenities like a private backyard or a home that doesn't share walls with neighbors. So what Zillow is saying is that more and more young people are going to start off by renting a home as opposed to buying a home. And the reason why is because people want to have nice things like their own backyard and their own space. And the more cost-effective way to do that, according to Zillow, is by going out and renting a home as opposed to buying a home, especially given the higher housing costs. Now, although we might see some relief in housing affordability, not housing costs, but housing affordability, it's still going to be very expensive. And because of that, more people are going to turn to renting as opposed to owning. Now, there's been a lot of kind of debate about renting and all this stuff going on, especially given the amount of investments in single-family homes by Wall Street over the last number of years, and this has created a new bill being proposed by Congress to ban potentially hedge funds from buying single-family homes and investing in single-family homes, but we'll see where that goes. Number 4, more markets will follow New York City's lead with rental demand surging near downtowns. The interesting thing about this point is this is kind of how things were before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, young people wanted to live in downtowns where you can live, work, and play, walk around and have public transportation. But after the pandemic, things flipped because during the pandemic, we saw this huge move of people away from the cities, away from downtowns into the suburbs. But now it looks like things are going back to what they were before the pandemic, because just like how we're seeing companies return back to the office with their employees, we're also seeing people moving back into the cities to live in downtowns. Zillow says the demand is surging for rentals in commutable areas with easy access to downtown or midtown Manhattan, while areas further from these office-laden neighborhoods are seeing relatively less demand. In other words, as companies are going back into the office, people are also moving back into the cities. Number 5 is that traditional home buyers will now be competing with home flippers with homes that need a little TLC, tender loving care. What Zillow is saying here is that although they're expecting inventory to rise in 2024, they're still expecting inventory to be relatively low. And when you don't have that many homes available for sale, that means you, as a home buyer, have to look at the homes that are available out there, and you might have to accept a home that's a little bit less desirable than what you would like. Maybe that means buying a home with a bathroom that's not fully updated, that way you can update it yourself, and that means you might be competing against home flippers to buy some of these properties, because home flippers look at these properties that need some work as opportunities to buy the home at a discount, make the renovations, and sell it for a huge profit. But if there's not that many homes available for sale, you might be competing against the flipper to buy that same home. This is what they said. Inventory has been far below normal for a while, and though Zillow predicts more homes will hit the market in 2024, inventory will remain much lower than pre-pandemic norms. Faced with limited choices, buyers will have to overlook small flaws, things like an outdated kitchen or bathroom. So if you're in the market for a home, you might have to do some renovations yourself. And this brings me to last but not least, number 6, which has to do with artificial intelligence. They say artificial intelligence will enhance the home search experience. Now, throughout 2023, we saw this boom in artificial intelligence across many different industries, and real estate is definitely not left out. This is what Zillow has to say. Zillow expects artificial intelligence advancements to streamline the home shopping process and the home selling journey in 2024. How is artificial intelligence going to do that? Through things like 3D content for the listings and better media media content to show homes for sale. How is artificial intelligence going to help you as a potential home buyer? Well, this is where Zillow says that there's going to be things like more 3D renderings and better content to help you see a home without you having to go out and actually see it. So this will be things like more virtual tours, 3D renderings. That way now you can get a better idea of what a home looks like without having to actually drive through the home. That way you can save some time and make it a little bit of a better home shopping experience and hopefully save some of your time because, well, time is the most valuable asset that you have. So now we just went through the Zillow home report. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about what Zillow says? Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Do you think home prices are going to continue to rise or will they go down in 2024? Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. The White House, Wall Street, and our central bank keep talking about how strong our economy will be in 2024 and beyond, and how we can have this soft landing by bypassing a recession even after the high inflation and the higher interest rates. But there are some major red flags in our economy that most people are overlooking right now. I'll show you. There are 3